Your personal data is being collected and exploited, even as you watch this video.
Can you say with 100% certainty that TikTok does not use the phone's camera to determine whether the content that elicits a pupil dilation should be amplified by the algorithm? Can you tell me that? How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
A case that could change the face of social media. 10-year-old Nyla Anderson died after taking part in a so-called blackout challenge, which went viral on TikTok.
Unfortunately, this is one of the many devastating examples of children losing their lives because of content promoted by TikTok.
Mr. Chu, if the CCP tells ByteDance to turn over all data that TikTok has collected inside the U.S., even within Project Texas, do they have to do so, according to Chinese law?
The Chinese Communist Party is engaged in psychological warfare through TikTok to deliberately influence U.S. children.
Because this is a top priority to make sure that people aren't spreading misinformation or trying to interfere in elections on Facebook. As long as there are people sitting in Russia whose job it is to try to interfere with elections around the world, this is going to be an ongoing conflict. What we allow is for advertisers to tell us who they want to reach, and then we do the placement.
Facebook's internal purpose, whether they state it publicly or not, is to compile perfect records of private lives to the maximum extent of their capability, and then exploit that for their own corporate enrichment, and damn the consequences. This is actually precisely the same as what the NSA does.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about. Your right to privacy, the limits of your right to privacy, and how much you give away in modern America in the name of, quote, connecting people around the world.
The NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. These things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who was simply hired by the government.
Chapter 1. Ask yourself, how many hours do you spend online? Scrolling social media, replying to loved ones, signing up for services, or buying things? Ever wondered what happens when you hit send, submit, or buy? Behind every click, Big Brother is lurking.
What are your true feelings towards Big Brother?
How? By gathering your data in ways you never agreed to. But maybe you technically did. Remember those terms and conditions you never read? Yeah, those. But you were just in a hurry, right? You wanted to use the app as soon as possible. Fair enough, but those boring, long-winded T and Cs often grant companies the right to track everything about you. So why do they want your data? Simple. Your data means profit. They track your behavior, age, location, interests, and even shopping habits to create a digital clone of you. Credit card companies know your favorite stores. Loyalty programs know your shopping habits. Even when you think you're offline, you're not. They still know. And what's the point? To squeeze more money out of your pockets. They create addictive experiences, serving you just the right ads, keeping you scrolling mindlessly. Have you ever realized how much time you've wasted scrolling? Well, that's not an accident. The apps and sites you use are meticulously designed to hook you. Cheap dopamine hits, personalized content, and strategic ads. The real cost? Your personal info. Your data is their currency. They want to know you to keep you addicted, keep you spending, and keep you clicking.
Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need.
And that's the best case scenario. Ever wondered what happens if your data gets leaked or hacked? Chapter 2. Then your digital footprint makes it to the dark web.
Well, there's a new lawsuit that claims that hackers stole every person's social security number. Authorities haven't confirmed that at this point.
But you may want to protect yourself anyways. WBC's Laura Hafley spoke with a former FBI agent who explains how this may have happened and what you should watch out for over the next few months.
Now the stakes are real. You start getting bombarded with calls from scammers. Your inbox floods with phishing emails. Worst case, someone uses your data to impersonate you, applying for loans under your name. Imagine banks demanding repayment for loans you never took out. Your credit score tanks, and it's a battle to prove it wasn't you. Months of your life wasted, your financial reputation ruined.
A lawsuit claiming billions of Social Security numbers were made public was filed in Florida, according to reporting by Bloomberg Law. The data, including addresses, was stolen from background check company National Public Data back in April. The leak could affect billions.
It's just something they want to do to wreak havoc.
According to reporting, the hacker group allegedly responsible calls itself USDOD.
Obviously, people think of that being the Department of Defense. They seem official. People might trust in some way.
The hackers likely motivated by money, asking for $3.5 million on the dark web, but the file was later leaked for free, according to tech site Bleeping Computer.
This is addresses, this is names.
Jennifer Coffindaffer is a retired FBI special agent.
Whenever you have multiple components of someone's identification, you can do much more damage.
And now with AI and deepfake technology, criminals could even use your photos or videos to create convincing fake videos of you. Imagine being accused of saying things you never said. But it doesn't stop there. The government you voted for, believing it would protect your freedom, could be spying on you right now.
We cannot prevent terrorist attacks or cyber threats without some capability to penetrate digital communications.
In 2013, Edward Snowden revealed that the NSA was running a global surveillance program, collecting millions of Americans' phone records under the Patriot Act. With the PRISM program, they monitored emails, video calls, and search histories. No warrant needed.
My name's Ed Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton as an infrastructure analyst for NSA in Hawaii.
What are some of the positions that you held previously within the intelligence community?
I've been a systems engineer, systems administrator, senior advisor for the Central Intelligence Agency, solutions consultant, and a telecommunications information systems officer. When you're in positions of privileged access, like a systems administrator for these sort of intelligence community agencies, you're exposed to a lot more information on a broader scale than the average employee. And because of that, you see things that may be disturbing, but over the course of a normal person's career, you'd only see one or two of these instances. When you see everything, you see them on a more frequent basis. And you recognize that some of these things are actually abuses. And when you talk to people about them, in a place like this where this is the normal state of business, people tend not to take them very seriously and move on from them. But over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you're ignored, the more you're told it's not a problem. Until eventually you realize that these things need to be determined by the public, not by somebody who is simply hired by the government. NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email. When you are subverting the power of government, that's a fundamentally dangerous thing to democracy. And if you do that in secret consistently, as the government does when it wants to benefit from a secret action that it took, it'll kind of give its officials a mandate to go, hey, tell the press about this thing and that thing, so the public is on our side. But they rarely, if ever, do that when an abuse occurs. That falls to individual citizens, but they're typically maligned. It becomes a thing of these people are against the country, they're against the government. But I'm not. I'm no different from anybody else. I don't have special skills. I'm just another guy who sits there day to day in the office, watches what's happening, and goes, this is something that's not our place to decide. The public needs to decide whether these programs and policies are right or wrong. And I'm willing to go on the record to defend the authenticity of them and say, I didn't change these. I didn't modify the story. This is the truth. This is what's happening. You should decide whether we need to be doing this.
Why should people care about surveillance?
Because even if you're not doing anything wrong, you're being watched and recorded. And the storage capability of these systems increases every year consistently by orders of magnitude. To where it's getting to the point you don't have to have done anything wrong. You simply have to eventually fall under suspicion from somebody, even by a wrong call, and then they can use the system to go back in time and scrutinize every decision you've ever made, every friend you've ever discussed something with, and attack you on that basis to sort of derive suspicion from an innocent life and paint anyone in the context of a wrongdoer. The greatest fear that I have regarding the outcome for America of these disclosures is that nothing will change. People will see in the media all of these disclosures. They'll know the lengths that the government is going to grant themselves powers unilaterally to create greater control over American society and global society. But they won't be willing to take the risks necessarily to stand up and fight to change things, to force their representatives to actually take a stand in their interests. And the months ahead, the years ahead, it's only going to get worse until eventually there will be a time where policies will change, because the only thing that restricts the activities of the surveillance state are policy. Even our agreements with other sovereign governments, we consider that to be a stipulation of policy rather than a stipulation of law. And because of that, a new leader will be elected. They'll flip the switch, say that because of the crisis, because of the dangers that we face in the world, some new and unpredicted threat, we need more authority, we need more power, and there will be nothing the people can do at that point to oppose it, and it'll be turnkey tyranny.
Whether you're in the US or not, your government probably knows more about you than you realize. You could be getting fed specific media narratives, unknowingly controlled without a clue. Chapter 3. What can you do to protect your privacy, to stay a free-thinking individual? If you're okay with living in comfort while being unknowingly influenced, do nothing. But if you want to protect yourself and your loved ones, start here. Read the terms and conditions. Find out exactly what data companies are collecting and why. Don't interact with unknown entities online. It's tempting to trust that email promising $1 million inheritance, but it's a scam. Don't answer unknown numbers or open suspicious emails. Use a VPN like NordVPN. While it won't prevent all data collection, it can stop third parties from tracking your online activity by masking your IP and encrypting your internet traffic. Activate NordVPN on your devices. Not only does it hide your online behavior, but it also lets you access services from your home country while traveling. Use the link below in this video's description to get exclusive NordVPN deals. If you like this video, you're going to love the next one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.